What's up, Laker fans? Danny Green will be responsible for defending many of the talented scorers in the Western Conference this season. In this video, we'll first take a look at his on-ball defense, then his abilities as a team defender, and then finally, we'll examine the individual matchups between him and the top scorers out west. Let's start with something that I was actually kind of surprised by, specifically his ability to stay in front of guys on the perimeter. He's a little tall in his stance, and when you combine that with his lack of quick twitch, that can make him vulnerable to being beaten by guys with a quick first step when he's defending them in space. This can be true with bigger wings just as it is with guards. But it's not an all or nothing type of deal where he can never stay in front of someone. And when he is able to do that, his length becomes a real asset. He almost always contests shots with his arms fully extended, getting the most out of his length and bothering jumpers. But the quickness that he struggles with in space is neutralized in the pick and roll game, where he's an excellent defender. He fights through screens well to stay attached to his man. He'll also get over screens with good footwork. Tristan Thompson wants to get his right foot above Green's because that'll ensure contact on the screen. So Green takes a second step forward to make sure that he gets over the top. This allows Green to stay attached to the ball handler and he gives him a little waist bump. They have to re-screen and Green dips his front shoulder to avoid contact on that one before he trips, but great technique overall. In a drop coverage on pick and rolls, the defensive guard's job is to fight over the top and provide pressure from behind. Kyrie hits this lefty floater, but Green is all over him. He's phenomenal at providing back pressure and funneling ball handlers toward shot blockers off of the pick and roll. This back pressure that Green provides is a peanut butter and jelly fit with the rim protection of JaVale McGee and Anthony Davis. If you do this correctly, the only available shot for the ball handler is going to be a floater off of 1 foot, which is a low percentage look and exactly the type of shot that you want to force an offense into. Green's back pressure and size prevents too many pull-up jumpers from being taken on these because he'll bother or even block them from behind. He's also good at icing side pick and rolls, meaning that he doesn't let the ball handler go middle. Part of the value of having a vet like Green is that he rarely ever blows a defensive coverage. He's not great at switching on to bigs though. They can push him around fairly easily and establish a deep position, either in the post or on the offensive boards. If Danny Green is good but not great as an on-ball defender, he's an elite team defender. Here he's got his pistols out, which is how you teach off-ball defenders to see man and ball. Tatum goes over to set the screen on the split cut, and Green uses that footwork that we saw in the first segment to step over it. This cuts off a passing option for Horford and turns the play into a low percentage post-up. On this play, he starts on Landry Shamet, but doesn't follow him when he notices that Embiid is receiving a cross screen. After he jams Embiid, Green is responsible for Muscala at the free throw line. But when Lowry drops down to pick him up, Green switches back onto Shamet and goes immediately into ball denial, taking him out of the play. Green is very quick to leave his man to provide extra support around the rim, where his high contest can bother finishers. He's been one of the better rim protecting wings in the league for the last several years because of this. but his focus on helping in the paint can leave his man open on the perimeter. On this one, he stunts onto Kuzma knowing that Ingram isn't much of a catch-and-shoot threat, but Ingram counters that by starting to dive to the basket even before he's caught the pass. This ruins Green's recovery angle and gets Ingram to the rim, even though he misses the layup. So these situations are a calculation for Green. He's exceptional on closeouts, using those high contests as a weapon to bother catch-and-shoot jumpers. So then it becomes a matter of how much he can help in the paint and still get back to his man to bother the shot. Here, he stunts down onto Jimmy Butler, but still gets back in time to smother Shamet. As we saw earlier, he's really good in ball denial, using his size and length effectively. He can get back cut on these at times, but that's true of just about anybody in ball denial. He gives up space to off-ball shooters at the beginning of their route because he doesn't lock and trail on their hip. If he gets hit by a screen on top of that, it's going to be an open shot. But he's pretty good at taking routes that avoid those screens and uses his closeout ability to take the shot away. And if he stays attached, he can provide that back pressure that we saw earlier in pick and roll situations. Alright, so let's check out the matchups. Everyone in this section averaged at least 20 points per game last year and plays in the Western Conference this season. Steph Curry can be bothered by ball denial, especially from bigger guards and wings, and Danny Green is one of those guys that bothers him. But Steph can capitalize on that space that Green gives up early in a shooter's route. He's also vulnerable to Steph's ball handling ability at the point of attack, meaning that Steph can get around him when they're in space. D'Angelo Russell's game is more ball screen heavy, and while Green's length can bother him at times, Russell has good size and craftiness in the mid-range, which can help overcome some of Green's strengths. He'll also burn Green for overhelping in the paint. How well Green defends Paul George depends heavily on the situation. Green's propensity to give up that space at the beginning of a shooter's route is especially harmful against PG because at George's size, he's less bothered by the contests on Green's closeouts. But Green will bother him with back pressure on pick and rolls. There weren't too many possessions over the last couple of seasons where they were matched up in isolation, but George usually got the best of Green when they were. Lou Williams' game is fairly simple but devastatingly effective. If he goes left, he's going to look to shoot a jumper, and if he goes right, he's going to look to drive to the basket, at least in most cases. Green is at his best against Williams when he's sending him to his right and funneling him into the rim-protecting big. If Green lets him go left, then nobody can help, and Williams is a master at getting separation and hitting those shots while he's drifting left. It's a similar story with James Harden. Green is good at limiting the number of step-backs that he takes with his length. Harden's going to get by him, of course, but again, Green's job at this point is to funnel him into the rim-protecting bigs. This often forces Harden into those floaters that we saw earlier, and that's the shot that Harden is least effective at. I expect Green to be the guy responsible for guarding Harden when the Lakers play the Rockets. Harden's new backcourt mate is a tougher matchup for Green. They didn't have too many possessions over the last couple of years, but Westbrook's speed and quickness was a problem for Green when they did. Green's length can bother CJ McCollum, and that usually shows up in pick and roll situations. But McCollum beats Green when he's able to use his speed, usually in off-ball situations. McCollum's also a guy where Green's tendency to overhelp can be harmful. Green hasn't had many possessions matched up against Damian Lillard over the last couple of seasons, but he's done surprisingly well when he did. But I wouldn't expect that to last over a larger sample size due to Lillard's elite first step. I expected Danny Green to struggle a bit with Donovan Mitchell, but he actually defended him really well. His back pressure bothers Mitchell on pick and rolls, and his length bothers his jumper. The story might be a little bit different if they let Mitchell attack Green in isolation, but most of the plays were either handoffs or pick and rolls. Mike Conley is the new point guard in Utah, and he's had a little bit more success against Green. Like most of the smaller guards, Green would funnel Conley toward the rim protector, but Conley's got a great floater game that allowed him to capitalize on those opportunities. But all in all, this was still an effective strategy that Green executed well. DeMar DeRozan's game combines size with craft and mid-range work, all of which neutralize the advantages that Green has on defense. DeRozan has a good amount of success against Green as a result. Devin Booker goes about it slightly differently than DeRozan does, but his skill level in the mid-range allows him to score on Green with relative ease. He's also a guy who will burn Green for leaving him on the perimeter. There weren't too many possessions where Green was on Luka last year, but his length bothered him, and Luka doesn't have that elite first step to get by him. Almost all of the other possessions were ball screen situations where Luka shot floaters and didn't do well on them. Green did a better job of staying attached to Buddy Hield coming off his screens than he did with most shooters in the same situation. Hield is more reliant on his size and technique than speed, but that plays into Green's strengths. But Hield is good at getting open in those scramble situations, and that's where Green often loses his guy, so Hield will get open shots against him as a result. All in all, the Lakers got a good one in Danny Green. I can't help but think of the possibilities if the Lakers were to sign Andre Iguodala. Iggy is a better point of attack defender than Green is, and that would push Green into more of those team and help situations that he really excels in. Laker Film Room is dedicated to helping you experience the Lakers and the game of basketball on a deeper level. If you want to support the work that we do and get early access to videos this summer, please click the Patreon link in the description. Alright, that'll do it for this one. I'll catch you guys next time.